comfortable setting today, Tim.
It's very nice.
Welcome in. It's the Bearcat Journal preview show here, as we try to get to every week. This week, previewing the trip to Tampa as the Bearcats take on a much improved South Florida Bulls team. Looked like they were going to be another dumpster fire to start the season, and they've come on strongly of late.
I think they've won 5 of their last 6.
Yeah, they started 1-3. Now they're 6-4.
Yeah. The question going into the season was, and my question was, do they have a quarterback? They played some of Quentin Flowers last year, and he was that young, dual-threat quarterback that could run but couldn't throw very well. And now he's throwing the ball much, much better. And I'd say of all the quarterbacks that you have in the American, some of them are mobile. This kid is a real dual-threat quarterback, probably just slightly behind a Gray Ward Jr. as far as his ability to run the football.
So they're running the ball with their running back and with their quarterback. Now they've got the ability to throw a little bit. And how surprised were you that they really took it at Temple last week?
They really did. Scored a lot of points on a pretty good defense. They hit for a lot of big plays. And, you got Marlon Mack, who's rushed for 100 yards 6 times, I think, this year.
He's a sophomore now, right?
He is a sophomore. And, about 210 pounds. He's got a little bit of everything. He can make you miss, and he can outrun you sometimes. And they've also got Darius Tice, as young. Coach Tuberville talked about depth at running back here, and they used 3 guys. Darius Tice, who was actually committed here for a short amount of time before he flipped to South Florida. And they've got Dearness Johnson, who's Deshaunbee's brother, who had interest in coming here, but Cincinnati never offered him. So those are their 3 running backs, and then they've got a wide receiver, Rodney Adams, that Cincinnati recruited, who's got great speed on the outside. So they've got some playmakers there offensively, and they made plays against Temple last week. And it was surprising to see that good Temple defense be really just whacked by those guys. I think they had, 44 points?
Yeah, it was 44-23 or whatever it was. So defensively, what you would expect from South Florida. They're fast, a little bit undersized, but they do a really good job getting to the football.
Yeah, and that's what, they got the new defensive coordinator. I think his name is Tom Allen. I think he came from the SEC. And for those people that don't like the orchestrated things, the fist-up defense or the lock-in arms, you're going to see it from South Florida because he brought that bull shark defense with him for either Mississippi or Mississippi State. I can't remember which school he was from. But they've got their little gyrations that they do when they make good plays. And, the kid, Jamie Bird, is a really good player for them, maybe a pro. Plays one of the hybrid defensive back linebacker positions we see more and more. So they've got some athleticism on defense, and they've had some games where they played well, and they've had some games where they didn't play well. But they really played well, I thought, against Temple. They picked off P.J. Walker. I don't think it was a pick 6, but it was right down in there, maybe at the 5-yard line. So they're going to be a handful, and they're playing for a more likely division championship than Cincinnati is, because having beaten Temple, all they need
Temple
is
to lose once.
Yeah, and Temple plays Memphis this week.
Yep.
And when Coach was talking today in the press conference about one of the reasons why people want Boone to get more carries, and they're trying to hold down the carries on everybody so they'll all be fresh. You look at that Temple team right now, and Jahad Thomas is beat up, and that's their best offensive player. They've got some good wideouts, but they drop way too many balls. But Jahad Thomas is the guy that they've sort of leaned on in the early going. And in these last 3 or 4
They didn't
weeks,
lean on him. They hopped on his back.
Yeah, and even on special teams,
yeah.
And they've got a good young kid that's played well for them here lately, getting some carries. But I think that Jahad Thomas is beat up right now, and I think Memphis is going to beat them. And so if South Florida were to win out, then South Florida on a 2-man tiebreaker would go on the basis of beating Temple.
And Cincinnati needs quite a bit to happen.
Well,
they need to win out.
Yeah, and they need Temple to lose to Memphis and to UConn. Yeah. And UConn will be playing most likely for a bowl invitation themselves. But then Cincinnati finishes with East Carolina, and East Carolina will likely be needing a win to get bowl eligible. So a lot still to happen here. But right now, if you're Cincinnati, you just want to get win 7 against what right now is one of the more surprising teams in the AAC.
Do they do it? Do they do it? Do they get win 7?
Cincinnati?
Yeah, Cincinnati. Who the hell else you think we're talking about?
Well, USF. I guess so. I think so. I hope so.
That's not very convincing.
Yeah, I just.
You're not convinced?
Well, I just think it's going to be a real dogfight. I think it's going to come down to a play or two, and can the Bearcats make that play, which they haven't been able to make to win a game down the stretch on some of these other very competitive games.
You went from I guess so to I hope so to I think so in like 2 seconds.
Some rotation.
Some rotation of that.
Yeah.
And decreasing, your voice trailed off each one.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're making me think I might want to go with the Bulls.
Well, we hit it pretty much on the head last week.
Yep.
Pretty close last
Yep.
week. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati, but it's going to be tight, I think.
High scoring?
I think it's going to be in the 30s.
Okay.
That's what I think. What
In the
about you?
30s? I think sounds about right. I'm a little shook because I rely on your confidence in picking the Bearcats, and it kind of shook me a little bit. But
I'm a shaken man right now.
I'll go Bearcats by 4, and I'll agree somewhere in the 30s. All right, that's gonna wrap it up. He's a shaken, not stirred, Tim Adams. I'm Chad Brendel for BearcatJournal.com.
All righty.